This is something that I drew in elementary school. And this is something I painted recently as a professional illustrator. Do you ever feel like your drawings are not good enough? Let me show you where I started and how years of practice turned this into this. You can see that I did not start with any sort of great talent, but I ended up here. If you are learning art, my story might encourage you to keep going. I will talk about my experiences and how I learned to paint and what type of practice did I do. I hope that this video gives you some ideas for your own art learning journey. Let's start with some drawings from elementary school. These were drawn with a lot of love, but almost zero art skills. Everyone had to start somewhere. These I drew when I was about 16, and at 16 I started practicing. The quality of my drawings starts quickly increasing after these. This one is from 2004, and it is the first digitally colored image I found where I actually tried to make art. I had already used Photoshop before, and I had drawn some stick figures in Microsoft Paint, but this is the point where I started to really try and practice and make proper art with Photoshop. With this image, I had no clue what I was doing. I was not familiar with digital painting, and you can see I also did not understand anatomy or colors. But that did not stop me. You can see how quickly I went from having no clue what I was doing to attempting pretty complicated images. Sure, I still had no clue what I was doing, but I put a lot of effort in this painting. I even shot some reference for this. It is really important to try new and difficult things. The times when my art skills developed the most were the times when I really challenged myself and tried doing paintings that were way above my current skill level. I still started everything with a really messy sketch. Sometimes I even inked it before scanning. Around this time I started a lot of really complicated images, most of which I never finished. But I kept challenging myself with complicated backgrounds and interesting lighting, and I learned a lot. Finally, I bought a tablet in 2006 when I was 18 years old. It was a Wacom Graphire, basic tablet, even by that day's standards, but it served me well for years. Until that, every digital painting you can see here was done with a mouse. The tablet was a massive improvement, both for painting quality and for ergonomy and speed. I recommend that you buy a cheap, basic tablet as soon as you can if you don't already have one. Any cheap Chinese tablet or a used Wacom is good enough to start with, as long as you make sure that there are drivers available. Having a tablet makes practicing much quicker and easier, and trying to paint a lot with a mouse could give you a wrist injury. The other reason that this painting is significant is that I did not do a pencil sketch. This image is done entirely in Photoshop. From now on, most of the images in this video are entirely digital. Here is an onion. I started to take random objects around me and tried to paint them. It taught me a lot. If you have never tried this, try with one single simple object, like for example an onion. Later in this video, you will see that I got into much more complicated still lifes, but something like this is a good start. And yes, I used it for soup afterwards. This painting is special because I really tried to learn a professional workflow. I made thumbnails, I shot reference, I made a proper sketch, I used layers intelligently. At the time, this was the most complicated painting I had ever done and actually finished. While now I can see a lot of problems with it, at the time I was proud of it and totally deserved to be proud of it, at least for managing to finish something. I will make a video about digital painting workflow later this year, but until then, check out other videos in YouTube about how to do thumbnails for paintings and how to make proper sketches for paintings. I will link a guide on how to find good reference in the description. And here is a painting of a ship I made just a few years after I started seriously practicing. It is not perfect, but look how far I have come with regular practice and curiosity. Around this time, I painted a lot of random heads with no background, mostly to practice painting heads. Most of these were done with zero reference. They would have been much better practice if I had used reference. If I could go back and give myself some advice, I would have told younger me to use reference for these. Use photographs of real people, not overly edited photos or AI-generated images. You can also try copying paintings by master portrait painters, or when you get a bit more experience, try painting your family members when they are sitting still. The best book on drawing heads that I know is Andrew Loomis' book Drawing the Head and Hands, link in the description. And now we get into one of the most common themes in my art in my late teenage years, Naruto fan art. There was a decent amount of it, and this will not be the last Naruto fan art you see in this video. This painting has a major jump in quality from the previous paintings because I used proper reference. I kept painting studies of random objects around me. This practice really helped me learn how to paint realistic light and materials. And I still kept painting the random heads with blank expression and no reference. But hey, at least this one has some attempt at interesting light and a hinted background. Again, this one is one of the more serious images that I took a long time with. Please notice the atmospheric perspective, which means that the hills in the background are bluish and they have low contrast. That was my biggest learning experience with this painting. People often ask me if I ever practice painting on paper, and yes, I do. Here are some paintings from around this time. This fan art for Tomb Raider was at a time of my life when I found video game concept art and got really inspired by several professional concept artists. With this painting, I focused on the mood of the image. Then I got a laptop and started doing studies of really random places around me, no longer just single objects. These are boxes on top of my kitchen cupboard, and my window, and a scenery from a train window. This was really good exercise, and I recommend that you try doing it too. If you do not have a laptop, try using a tablet or a sketchbook and real paint. The subject really does not need to be anything special. Just a random corner of your home is good. And here are some life drawings. Sketching real people from observation is a great way to train your eye, and it helps you understand anatomy, gesture, and proportions. If there are life drawing classes available near you, please go. Even if you do not have access to nude models, drawing people with clothes on is also good. This one was a cool exercise. I took every single yellow object that I owned and did a color study. I recommend you do this too, as you can learn a lot about color. And this one was an exercise where I took one sketch and colored it in 3 different ways. For this exercise, it was not important what the sketch was about, so it was time for random Naruto fan art. If you ever feel that practice is boring, don't be afraid to sometimes have some fun with it. Here are some more images about random objects around my home and my parents' home. Me and my friends used to have a tiny comic publishing side hustle. I did the graphic design for that and also painted some covers. That was an awesome experience. I learned a lot about how publishing works and was later able to use that knowledge when I made book covers professionally. This one is a cover for one of those comic books. I took a workshop called Becoming a Better Artist by Robert Chang, and I learned a lot. Unfortunately, it is no longer available. This and the next painting were painted during that workshop. Look at all the action in this image and the amount of narrative. There is so much more action happening in this image than in any other image earlier in this video. In this one, I really went in and drew a lot of detail. Many of those books in the bookshelves are based on real books, and there is plenty of other cool, hidden little details in there. Compare these to the faces with no background earlier in the video. Sure, the backgrounds are still very simple, and the camera angle is still straight ahead, but the anatomy is much better and the light is much more realistic and interesting. The difference between these and the earlier faces is because of practicing from photo reference and artwork by master painters. And finally, a different angle instead of straight ahead. Compared to that onion earlier, this still life shows how much I have learned about light, color, and painting materials. I promise that if you keep practicing, you will also learn how to paint these. And now we get into pretty recent paintings. This one was for an art exhibition. Nowadays, I regularly practice drawing people from good quality reference photos. I especially try to do dynamic poses because I still have problems with those. This one is a book cover for Sari Peltoniemi's book Taivasalan Joutsen. Do you remember that first pencil drawing of a ship? This is where years of practice have led me. Stick with the practice, and in a few years you can also compare your current paintings to old ones and surprise yourself with how far you have come. This one is a marketing image for Nummirok Metal Festival. This is a recent image, so here is where my painting skills are currently. But there is still a lot I need to learn. My current goals are to learn to paint action and expressive gestures and faces, and to get better at planning paintings. Thank you for watching my art journey. I hope that seeing my old paintings shows you that you do not need to be a child prodigy to become good at art. You just need patience, a lot of practice, and to keep going. Challenge yourself, study from life, learn from master artists that you admire, and do not forget to occasionally have fun. You are allowed to draw silly things, and you are allowed to fail badly, because failing is a part of learning. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. See you in the next video. Thank you.